Kendra, is it on? Whoa, look at that. I have a mic and I have to use the mic because otherwise they can't hear me at home. So it's going to be really loud in here if there's no one at home.
Well, that's good because usually you're quiet. So this
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's me. That's me. All right. Then I'll turn this off. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Nice. Test.
yeah, there
There
you
we go. Can you hear me? At home? No. What's that? Why? Is that who that is? Oh, damn. Hey, Dora. Hi, Dora. Hi, Dora.
Hi there.
No kidding. Although I think that's a picture from Dora's basement. But
Oh, there I am.
hi, Dora. Can you
Hi
hear me?
there. Yeah, I could hear you great. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay. So I'm going to try and keep this as interactive as possible today. I'll tell you guys, we're going to start with, so this, what we're going to do today, I kind of stole about 7 years ago. There's a guy, his name is Dr. Robert Cialdini. He is from Stanford University, and he studied for about 8 years what makes people take action, what influences people, why do they do things, and how can we encourage them to do it? Now, he wrote a PhD and a couple of books and stuff, and he's a great speaker. But what I did is I took his 6 principles of influence. So these are the 6 things that he thought made people take action. And I said, okay, how do we apply that to real estate? And in all of our different aspects of real estate, how do we apply these 6 principles so that we can close more business and direct people and get them taking action. Fair enough? That's what we're going to do. So first of all, let's start with what is influence. And I'm going to call you guys at home so that you stay interactive a little bit. Don't phase out on me. Stay tuned in a bit, because if you stay tuned in, out of this training today, I guarantee you will take away 2, maybe 3 things that are going to help your business, really help your business fast. So what is influence? In my mind, influence, pretty simple. The ability to get somebody to do something that you want them to do, whether or not they know they want to do it. That's it. I mean, we're in sales. That's what we do. We influence people all the time. So what is the difference between influence and just being a good speaker? Because you can be a great speaker, you give great presentations and not be influential, right? A good speaker, a good presenter can educate, but somebody who's influential can get people to follow them, to take action, to motivate them to do stuff. And that's what we're talking about today. How do we motivate people to take action? And it's pretty simple. Why do people do what they do? And this is where we start getting into psychology, and all these things are based in psychology. Why do people do what they do? And it's really very simple. People do what they do for one of 2 things: to get pleasure or to avoid pain. And you're going to hear that a million times, but yeah, well, no, it's just fact. Like, it is Tony Robbins, but it's also just fact. We do more to avoid pain than we do to get pleasure, right? There's that whole fear of missing out thing. We're going to talk about that today because we're going to use it a little bit, right? There's all that stuff. So the pain pleasure principle comes into play through all these things. So here, this is really what it comes down to. Why is it that some people take action? And what is a lot of little things, but these 6 things are the big ones. Okay? So what I want to do today is talk about how are we going to apply the things we talked about today to lead generation. So we're going to go each of the 6 topics, and we're going to talk about lead gen. We're talking about phone prospecting. We're talking about working with a buyer. We're talking about working with a seller. How do we apply these principles to each of those 4 things? Because in our business, we lead gen, we make appointments, we deal with buyers, we deal with sellers. That's our job. So if we can take each of these 6, apply those to those, we file that. So let's talk about the limbic system, the subconscious. The
Jeff,
what controls your life, makes people take action, makes people do things without even realizing. It's all based on instinct. And I'll tell you, here's where it comes from. Human beings have been on the planet Earth for about 100,000 years. A bunch of different opinions on that, but it's been about 100,000 years that we're on Earth. And for about 9,000 of those years, we had to hunt for food, gather food, build fires, run away from tigers. In the last 100 years, all of this stuff has happened. So we went 100,000 years based on instinct. And then in the last little while, the world has changed to a place where we think we're smarter than our instincts, where we can outsmart our instincts, where all the things that bug me like crazy, where all the things we did to survive and to evolve and to become the humans we are, we try today to override that, right? But these 6 things are the things we can't override. They're subconscious. They're in the back. So in the front of my brain, I try and tell myself, that beautiful woman is intelligent and talented and everything else and way more than beautiful, but my subconscious mind just sees the beauty. It doesn't see the intelligence. That's instinct, right? We didn't care about those things for 100,000 years. Now we do, but my subconscious brain doesn't. And when it comes to these 6 things we're talking about, your subconscious brain doesn't care. It's not in control. It's sleeping. Your conscious brain doesn't want you to do it, but your subconscious brain, it's there and it has control. So let's go back to the 6 things. Here we go. Here are the 6. Hi, how are you?
How are you?
Good. Hi, Mary. So the 6 things we're going to talk about: reciprocity, scarcity, authority, consensus, commitment, and like and friend, likability, friendship, something along those lines. So what I was telling these guys, there's a guy in the States, studied at Stanford. His name's Robert Cialdini. He came up with these 6 principles of influence. These are 6 things that control somebody's subconscious mind and make them take some action that you want them to take. So what I did is I took his 6 and I said, these are really cool. I want to do it. And I started putting them in practice. And I said, I can do a course on these 6 things and show people how to use each one in a real estate way. So that's what today is all about. Good? All right. So let's start with reciprocity. This is simple. When I give you something, your human instinct is to want to give me something back. Make sense? If somebody gives you something, you have nothing to give them in return, you almost feel guilty. Right? And so we can use that. If we give, they want to give back. This is a really simple theory. It's been used over sort of time to help different organizations. So one of the place, have you ever got, those little yellow cancer pins you get in the mail? Did you ever get one? So they're little plastic yellow cat, they must cost 8 cents, maybe. So the Canadian Cancer Society went door to door fundraising, 0 success. Like, it was terrible. Nobody gave them money. They started this campaign where they sent out the little yellow flowers, and then the next week they followed up. Hi, did you get the flower? Yeah, well, we're just collecting donations. We're just collecting donations. 400% increase in donations because of those little yellow flowers. Because they figured it out. If I give you something, when I come to the door, you're now like, your subconscious going, okay, it was stupid 10-cent yellow rose, but I'm going to give you 20 bucks anyway. And it just happens like that. The other group that did it great was the Hare Krishnas. When they're in the airport and they're trying to raise money and nobody talked to them. And so they decided, here's what we're going to give flowers at the airport. And then we'll ask for a donation. Here's a flower, give us a donation. Their donations went up something like 4,000% when they started doing flowers in the airport. Now, they're brilliant. So what they did is they parked somebody beside the garbage up the hall from where they were giving out the flowers. So they'd give the flowers out, take the flowers out of the garbage, give them out again. But it's that law of reciprocity. If you give something and you get nothing in return, it creates massive uncomfortableness in everybody. There's this rule in our head that when we get, we have to give. When we give, we have to get. And it's there, so we can use it for sure. How can we use it? So let's start with lead gen. How could we use reciprocity in lead gen? Who's giving us something when we get a lead that we might want to give them something back? What about a referral? Boom! Excellent. So if you get a referral, why would I get, let's talk about referrals, because I think this is really, really important. And you guys at home, this is really important. When I give you a referral, why did I do it? Pain or pleasure? Pain. No, pleasure. I want pleasure. I gave the referral because I want pleasure. Is giving a referral, does it give me any pleasure? Does it give me my juice? Does it give me my feedback? No. I give you the referral. If you don't tell me anything, just take it and go, maybe say thank you. I don't get my pleasure. If I don't get my pleasure, you're not getting another referral. So I've given you, you didn't give back. I feel bad. So if I give you, give back, right? So with referrals, if I give you a referral, go out of your way to make me feel special. Not if the deal closes, because that's not my job as referring you business, is not to close the deals for you. If I give you a lead, that's the best I can do. I can't close it. Thank them like mad. So when somebody gives you a referral, how could you thank them? How? Beautiful, buy and bottle wine. I had Langdon Flowers on Bank Street by Randall. They used to do referral bouquets for me, 22 bucks. And it was a referral bouquet. And every time I got a referral, I'd call Langdon, send a referral bouquet over here. And I'd go in once a month and write up like 15 cards. And I would send it here. You ready? Here's why you came today. I said, everybody's going to get at least 2. Here's your 1. Send it to their work, especially if they're a man. Especially if they're a man. Think about this. You get flowers at work. Who asks you? Who asks you where the flowers came from? But why are they asking? Don't I have to justify where those flowers, especially if I'm married, don't I now have to justify where those flowers come from so all those women don't think I'm cheating? Don't I have to actually explain them? Those flowers came from Jeff, my real estate guy, right? Deadly, killer. So there you go, referrals. In a presentation, so I'm doing a presentation of sitting with somebody, right? Have you ever worked with somebody who came into your house and wanted to sell you something, slammed you with features and benefits, told you how wonderful their product was, but didn't make you feel anything at all, just nothing, right? They're just selling their product. What we have to be is givers and service. So how do we do this in a presentation, right? When I sit with you for the first time and you're a buyer, I'm going to ask you all kinds of personal questions. I'm going to ask you about money, and ask you about your dreams, your desires, your fantasies, what you want in your house, your kids, your family, everything. Before I do that, I feel it's necessary to earn the right to do that. And I do that by giving myself to you first. So every appointment I do starts the same way. It starts with me pouring into you. And what it basically is me asking you open-ended questions till I can find out what makes you interested, because you really don't care about me. You just want to know that I care about you. So we're going to talk about you for 15, 20 minutes before I even start asking things. Because after that, you're going to feel like, wow, Jeff gave. Now I give. Right? Does that make sense? Good. Here's a tip. This is your second one, and then you can leave. Here it is. If you want something from somebody specific, do that specific thing for them, and they'll do it back to you. You want a lead from a divorce lawyer, give them a lead. Then they'll give it back, right? You want something from somebody, give, and they'll get back. So whatever you want. So when I'm meeting with, oh, perfect one. First time you meet with somebody, you haven't seen them in 10 years. You're having coffee. Do you start with all the wonderful things we do as realtors, or do you start with them? Them, always, right? How can I help your business? How can I help you? And if you help them, they'll respond, they'll reciprocate, right? This law of reciprocity, they'll help you back. Good enough? Couple things for reciprocity. Scarcity, and this is my favorite one because we just experienced it, and I made this training before it happened. We ran out of real estate. I never thought we would run out of real estate when I made this course. So talking about scarcity was, how do we create scarcity in buyers? Well, we found a way. Scarcity is a huge motivator. That is avoiding the pain of missing something because you didn't act in time, right? We all know of all those things. Anybody have kids the right age for that whole Cabbage Patch phase? Or maybe we're the right age for the whole Cabbage Patch phase? Yeah, exactly. Every year there seems to be some stupid thing that they create scarcity for, and it goes nuts. I think it's LOL dolls this year. You want to know cost? Because it works. And all of this stuff that you're seeing happen now, when you start to see it in Costco, you're going to go, that's Caldini again, that fucker. Messing with our heads. That was him. He created all this. So scarcity. Perfect example of scarcity. They took a bunch of kids and put them in a room. And they gave them cookies. They split the kids in half. They gave half the kids one cookie, and they gave half the kids 10 cookies. And at the end of this whole session, they surveyed the kids as to which thought the cookies were better. The kids that got one cookie unanimously thought their cookies were better than the kids that got 10. Just ridiculous, right? But it's just the way it is, scarcity. If something's limited, it must be great, right? Does that make sense, right? So how do we use that in real estate? Well, it's pretty easy to understand buyers' feelings of scarcity when there's no, you get bidding wars, you get all that other stuff, right? One of the things, I'll give you one thing I do with my buyers, and this is a line that I used before all this mess happened, was if we were in a house and they liked it, I would say something along the lines of, could you see yourself living in this house? Is this the one? If they say yes, I say, okay, great. Unfortunately, so could I. Like, what do you mean, unfortunately? I said, well, if you love it and I love it, everyone else is going to love it too. And if we don't act fast, we're going to lose. We should go back to my office, throw in a contract. We'll tie it up conditional, whatever we're going to do, but let's get it right. Okay. Let's talk about other forms of scarcity that we could create. What do we have a problem now? Right now, we have a problem, listings. We need more listings. So how do we create scarcity in listings for a seller? So what kind of fear could we create that they're going to miss out on if they don't act now? Oh, we know it's not lasting. Yeah, we know it's not gonna. So when does it end? Absolutely. Take advantage of low interest rates. Scarcity of supply. There's not a lot of supply around. Now's the time to get your house on the market. There's not a lot of supply. But the big scarcity for these guys is scarcity of their chance to win. So they have a chance right now to get a huge windfall because real estate prices have gone up so much. The scarcity here is that market going to stop? I mean, we know it's gonna. It's so easy to tell something when you know it's the truth. This market can't last forever. Eventually it's going to end. These multiple bidding things are going to stop and housing prices are going to maybe plateau or stay normal, but some houses aren't going to sell. Do you know when I started in real estate, we sold 3 out of every 10 houses that were listed on the market, whether they were good or bad. That means 7 people wanted to sell and couldn't. Do you know right now we list 10 houses and we sell 11? That means if 10 people want to sell, all 10 can, but how long is that going to last for? Right? It's not. These are the stories that you can tell to motivate these people to, get rolling, get rolling. Okay. So when it comes to authority, I have to be straight with you guys. So this is the kind of place where, it can sometimes feel like you're bragging. And there's a way to do it without. So my clients always ask me stuff. They always ask me like, where are interest rates going to go? I have a master's degree in economics, but I have no idea where interest rates are going to go. What did I just do? Somebody tell me what I just did. Now you're sitting there going, this guy has a master's degree in economics, but I didn't brag about it. I just worked it in the conversation. So how do we work authority in the conversation? And here's the thing about authority. People are lazy, especially today. They're scared. They're confused. The internet was supposed to clear up our world. We were supposed to have so much more information. We're supposed to know everything. All we are now is lost with information, buried. We don't know what's true, what's not, fake news, real news. Everybody's scared. Everybody's confused. They need an authority figure to follow. And they want it. And you can be it. You can be it. So who uses this, right? When I'm authority figure, you're going to do what I say just because I'm the authority. So doctors use this all the time. When you walk through the doctor's office, the first thing you see is all those damn diplomas. The reason that's there is somebody taught doctors that if you show all your diplomas, then when you make a diagnosis, they won't question it because you're the authority. Without those diplomas, maybe not. So that authority thing, be the authority. So here's what it takes to be the authority. You have to be someone they can trust. You have to care about them. You have to be willing to look at all sides of a situation. So we're not just selling the strengths of what we do. We also look at the opportunities to improve on weaknesses or pitfalls and stuff like that. Sell both. Be ethical enough to sacrifice a little bit for them. Don't be all about the money. I trained thousands of waiters and waitresses over the years. I know it sounds goofy, but one of the things that I taught them at a high-end luxury restaurant is the first thing you do when you're with a larger group, whoever ordered the most expensive thing, talk them out of it. I'll have the filet mignon. Oh, sir, I really want you to have a great experience today. And I've been in the kitchen all day and filet is not perfect today. I'd recommend this instead. And it's $5 less. So the guy's going to go, oh, this guy's right. Now trust. I'm the authority. They trust me. Oh, but to go with this, you need this $200 bottle of wine and dessert and coffee and boom. And all of a sudden your bill's $300 instead of $50. And that's a waiter's job, is to get your bill up, right? And our job is to get them to sell a house, buy a house. So here we go, by appearing of authority. All of you guys are like me. You've been in the world a while. You're not 19 years old. You don't have to fake it. You actually have authority. Here's the key. When you walk in someone's house for the first time, I don't care if it's Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Joe the janitor, it's irrelevant. They assume you're the expert. They assume you are the authority. How easy is it to be the authority if they already assume you are the authority? So what do we have to do in that case? We have to dress the part. We have to look the part. And we have to not talk too much. Right? Salespeople talk too much. They try and show what they know too much. And it makes you look less of authority when you talk too much. So we need to be the authority. Does that make sense? Perfect. They will follow you. How are we going to use this in a real estate presentation? Okay, let's just go straight to, I'm sitting with a buyer. How am I the authority? What do I know that they don't know? Man, everything. Buyers know nothing. I am the authority, right? Have the confidence that you are the authority, but now be in charge of your clients. Stay the authority. Don't let them whip you around. You're the professional, not them. Don't let them tell you what to do. Teach them what to do. Lead them. Be the authority all the way through. Here's what happens. We walk in as the authority and we're all looking good. And then my client goes, oh my God, Sunday at 2, I need to see that house. And I go, no problem. I'll cancel my kid's birthday. I'll be there. I don't look like anything anymore, right? Or the client goes, I'm not sure what to do about this house. Should I offer more? And you say, I don't know. You're going to have to make up your own mind. Or whatever it might be, you know? Be the authority. When you're in your presentation, how can somebody know about you without you bragging about them? So referrals are great, right? Referrals give you instant authority. You're going to borrow the authority from referrals. Going to tell them this is the person you deal with. You're just the authority. On a referral, you don't have to do any work at all to build that. You just got to be quiet. You don't have to work at it. With a cold prospect that you haven't met before, they don't know who you are. That interview process, that first 15 minutes, that's the chance for you to find out about them, but it's also the chance for you to work in a few little things and you figure out what your little things are that will lead them to believe that you're the authority. Time in the business, amount of experience, what you've done in the past, you know, just little things like that. Just any designation you might have. You know, I'm a certified negotiating specialist, whatever, little things like that. So if you can work that in at the beginning of the meeting, it'll help them see you as the authority. But just, you know what, I'll tell you, 9 times out of 10, when you walk in the room, the first 10 seconds, you're either the authority or you're not. Everybody in the room can tell you're either the authority or not. So just be that authority, fake it, right? Be cool, fake it. Back to my restaurant life. Consensus. Consensus is basically groupthink. We're more comfortable doing something if other people are doing it because it must be okay. Does that make sense? That requires a few things. First thing in consensus, your group has to be homogeneous. Homogeneous? Homogeneous, that's the word. Your group has to be the same. If you tell me Bill Gates flies to Mars, I'm not going to go out tomorrow and go, oh, I should fly to Mars because Bill Gates does. I can't. He's not my peer group. But if somebody that's like me, same financial situation, same life situation, same stuff, does this and it looks fun, I'm going to do that. Does that make sense? That's consensus. So where do we use consensus every day? You drive into a town for the first time. There's 2 restaurants. One is packed with cars. One is empty. Which one do you go to? The busy one all the time, because now in the restaurant business, we used to do this all the time. Like I had a club in Bell's Corners that would hold 2,000 people. I would have a lineup of 600 people and 10 people in the bar. They'd be like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm building the line, then I'll let them in. Because when they saw the line, they came, right? That's that consensus thing. Oh, there ever. City Slickers. Was there ever a nightclub in Bell's Corners? So I'm going to tell you, here in town, I'll use a sports example for consensus. The Auto 67s used to draw 5,000 people to Lansdowne every game. It was packed all the time. Then they did some construction on Lansdowne. They moved them to the Bell Sensplex. For 2 years, they averaged 600 people a game. When they moved back to Lansdowne, the fans didn't come back. And here's why. When I'm in Lansdowne and there's 5,000 people, that's a ruckus. That place is full. There's consensus. This is the place to be. When I then go to the Bell out where the Sens play, and I put 5,000 people in there, it's empty. Something's wrong. This doesn't feel right. People don't want to be here, so I don't want to be here. So that whole consensus thing killed the 67's fan base because they moved from a small arena where it was fun and to a big empty place. Anytime you go to a big empty thing, it feels empty. Okay, so how do we use this in real estate? Referrals, instant consensus, right? Somebody wants that, blah, blah, blah. You have to be busy. People want to work with people who are busy. When I was a financial planner, stockbroker, you couldn't meet me. I had a bit bigger ego than I do now, but you had my ass kicked since then a few times. But you couldn't meet me. If you called, you couldn't get me, ever. I had 2 gatekeepers keeping you away from me. If you want an appointment, it was 3 days minimum. And I would sit and do nothing for 3 days and not answer the phone and not take an appointment. So that in 3 days, you thought I was busy. And it's that you got to create it. You got to create it. Handling objections. We use consensus all the time. Have you guys, that handling objection thing, that feel, felt, found? Have you guys been taught that? You haven't been taught that yet? Feel, felt, found? Feel, felt, found? Really? You've never heard of it? Oh my God. A lot of the agents that I've trained, they feel the same way. They never heard of this either, but once I explained it to them, they felt that it kind of helped them a little bit. And then they found that helped their business. Feel, felt, found. Handling objections. Now, I understand how you feel. Lots of people I found that lots of people have felt that way. So feel, they felt that way. And then we found the solution. Feel, felt, found. Yeah, but that's consensus, right? What am I saying? I'm saying other people felt the same ways. Mm-hmm. What do you mean? No, that's when I was stuck. It was a different life. Different life. If somebody wants to see a house, you go show them a house. But you have to look busy, right? So if they say, hey, can you show me a house Tuesday at 3? You might say, oh, I got to show you at 3. Can I show it to you at 4:30 instead? I'll come right after. You just got to fake busyness a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. Fake business a little bit. Okay. So why, when we're dealing with consensus, do we need a homogeneous group? Do they need to be the same? Why is that important? So when it comes to real estate, if you look at our market right now, first-time home buyers are insane. Consensus is they're going nuts. They all want that house, right? So you could show a first-time home buyer a $500,000 house and there'd be 18 offers and 20 showings. If you took that person and showed them the house that millionaires are looking at, even if there was 100 millionaires in line for the house and they like the house, they're not in that business. They're not in that. That's not them, right? You're now showing them how great something is they can't have, which is the opposite of what we want to do. Show them how great things are that they can't have. Okay, next, commitment and consistency. Now, you guys tell me, what do you think of somebody who can't uphold their commitments? What about somebody who's not consistent in their opinion? Or parents that aren't consistent in their discipline, or teachers that aren't consistent in their lesson plan? What do you think of those people? Do you really believe that, though? They can't be that. Do you really believe that in your heart of hearts? Because here's what we're playing with. In your subconscious mind, you're freaking terrified of being that person. Everybody is. Here's how we're going to use it. We're going to twist it now and make sure that I take you and make sure that you're consistent, that you're following through with your commitments. I'm going to help you because the commitment and the consistency is going to lead to you buying a house. Here's what scientists found, and we're going to use horse racing as the analogy. So they went to the track, the horse track, and they pulled people. And there's 8 horses racing a race or 6 horses racing a race, whatever it is. I don't go to horse races, but let's say it's 6. And at the start of the race, Everybody thought each of the 6 horses had an equal chance to win until they placed a bet. And as soon as they bet on a horse, they believed that horse was going to win. Because in their mind, they made a call and they needed to be consistent. They made the judgment that that horse was going to win. Now they had to be consistent with it. Does that make sense? It works the same for us. So here's the deadly part of this. If you say yes to me, you'll maintain that yes. So if I get you to say a small yes, now you've started. If I get you to commit to something tiny, just tiny, and I'm going to do it on the phone before I meet you, but if I can get you to commit to something tiny, I can then get you to commit to something a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger, and we'll just take you right through the process so you won't even know what's going on. So we're going to start with minor, small commitments, right? Mary, if I call you on Thursday, will you be able to answer? Yeah. Here's my number. You'll answer if I call? Now, what do you think the chances are that she's going to answer when I call? Way better. So let's talk about how to apply that to our prospecting, right? We got internet leads coming in, leads coming out all over the place, and we're communicating with these leads. But part of our problem is all of those leads are slow to action. They're hard to motivate. You have to get in touch with them. So I'm about to create a lead gen thing that you guys will all get to take part of. But anyway, what our lead generators or client nurturers or telemarketers will do is when they're setting up appointments, they'll do the same thing. So I'll train them to tie the commitment. Hey, you know what? Jeff's going to call you on Thursday. Will you answer for me? This is his number. And they'll send him a text. This is Jeff's number. He's going to call you on Thursday. If they reply yes, it's 95% chance they're going to answer because they've committed to me. When I get to their house, I'm going to sit down with them and I'm going to say, hey, you know what? It's really great to meet you guys. Today, what I want to do, I just want to tell you a little bit about the company I work for. So you know who it is, tell you a little bit about myself. So you know me, tell you what I do for my people. And then we'll talk and see if specifically there's some stuff we can do to work together. Before I get going, is there anything you want to do today? Is there anything you want to accomplish? And that's it. Boom, boom, boom. They'll say no. I'll say, okay, great. Does that sound okay, that plan? They'll be like, yeah, the plan sounds great. Great. Now I'm tying them down, do all the way through. They don't even know what's going on. Then I say, okay, here's, one of the things we're going to have to do is, I know you guys want to sell, but there's a reason why you want to sell. After you sell this house, and you know what? I've looked around. It's beautiful. It's going to sell fast. What are we going to do next, guys? What's the plan? What are we going to do? After we sell this, what are we going to do? I'm 12 seconds into my appointment and I've already closed it. They're going, you know what? Here's what we're going to do, Jeff. We're going to go look for this house and that house. And I'm like, okay, just sign here. I'm done. You can tie them down all the way through. There's all kinds of things you can do. But if you get them to commit, if I say to Mary, what are we going to do next? What do you guys want? And I will tailor that to your personality. So if you're relaxed, I'll be relaxed. If you're negative, I'll be negative. But I'm going to say, what are we going to do next? When we sell this house, I'm going to sell fast. But when we do, what's the plan? What's your dream? What do you want to do next? As soon as you say, we're going to, you've now committed to be my client subconsciously. If you say, I'm going to go look at this house, I'm going to do it again in about 5 minutes. I'm going to hammer you again. So when we go look at that house, yeah, okay, we'll go on Wednesday. Boom, it's done. But you got to as soon as you get that commitment, just keep it going. Just keep it going. Just keep working it. Right? Just keep working it. Here's the biggest thing. Now I'm going to give you this. This is your $1 million tip. Do you get client, what are they called where they go on Google and talk about reviews? Sorry. Let's take it a step further. Testimonials, video testimonials. Would you do a video testimonial? What do you think a video testimonial will accomplish? It's not what you think. It's another thing, but it's cool, but it's another thing. Here's what it accomplishes. Once I go on video and say, Jeff is wonderful, I can never use another realtor again. That's what those things do. They tie the person that is giving you the review to you for life, because now their commitment, their consistency is, I can't go on video and say she's great and then use somebody else. That feels wrong. And so we can use that. So that's why those video testimonials are huge. Now, there was a study in the States. It was a physiotherapy study, and they were accident victims. So they weren't athletes, they were accident victims. And they were having real trouble getting them to follow through with their physiotherapy at home, their home exercises. They couldn't do it. Nobody would do it. Like, they were having zero success rate. So what they started doing is they started getting the patients to do video testimonials. Yeah, I came to this place and I started doing my exercise and I'm doing great. As soon as they started doing the video testimonials, everybody did their home exercise. It's just, I've committed, now I'm there. So we can use that in our business for sure. Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, friends. Friends. Okay, so how do we use this in real estate? And then again, it's just a whole bunch of small things, but the big one is, as soon as, for example, you heard what I do with the buyers, right? You know, could you see yourself living here? Yeah, me too. Unfortunately, somebody else would, blah, 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 blah. Let's go back to my office. Oh, you're not 100% in right now. Here's what we can do. We can put an offer conditional on an inspection. And we set it up so that if you find anything in the inspection at all, even if it's just a bad smell, we can walk away. Now, am I setting myself up for failure by telling them that in the beginning? Sort of, but not really, because I'm using this. As soon as they commit to sign that contract, they've forgotten about that conversation. Now they've made a little commitment. Now I need to get them to make another commitment. Okay, the inspection is Tuesday. You'll be there? Yeah, you'll be there too. Yeah, okay, let's go. And we just got to make the commitments. How are we doing for time? I don't know. Doesn't have limits. What's that? They don't have limits, but usually I go for rant for half an hour. Finally, the last thing. People want to work with people they like. That's just a fact. They will do business with you if they like you, they trust you, they understand you, and they believe you. They'll do business with you. If they don't like you, they still might do business with you, but it won't be consistent, and you won't get referrals, and it won't be ongoing. You got to earn that like. So how do we earn like? How do we get people to like us? And it's science. It really is. If I want to earn a friend for life, I want a deep, lasting, intimate relationship. We want to know each other. When I'm dealing with my buyers and sellers, I do not want them to know me at all. I want them to know the me I want them to know. And the me I want them to know is going to be an awful lot. So if they're quiet, the me is not the me you guys know. It's a quiet, reserved me. And that's tough. I gotta work hard on the quiet, reserved me. That one's hard. If they're really aggressive, I can crank it up another notch. So whatever they are, that's the me they're going to get to know. People like people that are like themselves. But it all relates, right? Isn't that just consensus? I act this way, therefore it must be good. Therefore, if you act that way, you must be good. Right? So how do we get somebody to like you? Here it is. Here's what I'm going to do today. I want to tell you a little bit about the company I work for, so you know who it is. Keller Williams, big, secure, been around a long time. Tell you a bit about myself, give you a little bit of my background, show you what I do for my clients, and then we'll talk and we'll see if there's something we can do together. Does that sound good? Before I get started, what do you want to get out of today's meeting? Why do I ask that at the start? Right? I don't care what the answer is. It's irrelevant. I care how they answer, not what they say. I care the way they answer that question. The way they answer that question changes everything, changes my whole present. I'm going to say the same thing in a totally different way depending on that answer. I use that answer to read the person. So you can read them a little bit. If you're going to their house, you can look, you can see some things. That answer uncovers everything. You either get, I don't know, you tell me. Or you might get, oh my God, I'm so happy you're here. We had trouble. This realtor screwed us. This. We don't trust realtors. We've had a bad experience. Well, you might get anything, and it's all great. It's all what you need, right? And if you don't get it in the first question, ask another open-ended question. Why do you feel that way? How would that make you feel? What would that mean for your life? You know, those open-ended questions, just get them talking. Because in the first 2 minutes of your presentation, if they're going to like you, you have to figure out really quick what they're like, and you have to be that. Because if I'm not going to use DISC because not everybody understands DISC, but if I'm aggressive, if I'm a type A personality, get to the bottom line, get it done, and you come in and spend 2 hours telling me stories about your kids and this house and this thing you did, and I'm going to go crazy and hate you. Now, if I'm amicable and I love the stories and I want to hear about your kids and all that stuff, and you come in and get right to business, I'm going to hate you. You have to figure it out right away. Who are you dealing with and present to them so they like you, right? I don't do business on the golf course. I was one of the only stockbrokers in the world not to do business on the golf course. People would ask me, why don't you do business on the golf course? Because in 4 hours, you're going to know me. And that means only 1 out of every 4 people will still want to do business with me afterwards. The one person that's like me, the other 3 type of people won't want to work with me anymore. So why would I go golfing if I have a 75% chance of losing my client? They were like, well, do we have confidence that you could win them over? I'm like, yeah, but why would I want to fake myself for 4 hours? If I'm going golfing, I'm going to go with a friend. I'm going to be myself. If I want to fake it, I'll come to your house for an hour or half an hour. Usually for me, it's half an hour. So how do we get it? So that question, boom. Here's the Tony Robbins stuff now. Tony's good at this stuff, right? How do you make somebody think you're like them? Their vocabulary is key. Right? Use the words they use. You know, it could be something goofy, but use the words they use. Not if they're wrong, but you know, instead of using the word you're used to, use their word. It just makes them feel like they're on the same page as you. Match their tone. The tone with which they speak. If they're loud, be loud. If they're quiet, be quiet. If they're medium, be medium. Match their tone. They're not gonna know you're doing it, I promise. Match their pace. If they talk fast, choppy, whatever, match their pace, match their tone, match their pace. You know, be like them as you can. You know, physically, I can be intimidating. I'm a big dude. I can be intimidated, right? So for me, I have to be conscious of that most of the time. But I try and match my client. How my client's physically behaving is how I'll behave. Now, I will go that if you practice this, it really gets fun. I used to have, so when my old office, I had an office with a window and my receptionist sat up front of the window and she would laugh and we would make bets at what I would try and get my clients to do during the appointment. I'd be like, hey, he's going to scratch his left ear and then pick his nose. She's like, no way. But you can control them. So here's where that works great. You ever walk into an appointment and go, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to win this guy over. Oh, you know, you walk in and say, well, I say, what would you like to get out of this appointment? I don't know. You're here, tell me. I don't want to do this. My wife made me. And you're like, oh, well, what do I do now? Well, here's what you do. Reel them in. Don't start with, blah, this is what we're going to do. Start with, yeah, I know how you feel. Talk to your wife. I can see the pressure. Yeah, I know how you feel. I hate realtors. Oh my God. I tell you, being in this business, oh, wait a minute. I've seen some real garbage out there. So let me tell you why I got in the business. So here it is. Now let me tell you why. I got a story for everything. Let me tell you why I got in the business. You know, I was working as a mortgage broker for 8 years. I had my company and I watched the way my family and friends were getting treated by real estate agents. And it was fucking terrifying. So I went out and got my license to look after them. I liked it so much. I did it as a career. Now I'm here to look after you too. Just little things, right? Little things. Now, with that negative person, if you try and be friendly and happy, he's going to pull away even farther. And it's always a guy, but he'll pull away even farther. You got to just bring him in. So you sit back until he sits back. If you can get him to put his hands on the table, then you brought him in. You're trying to reel him into the conversation. Now, here's what you can't do. And I'm going to say this for you guys at home, because this is key. And if I can only impart you with one thing today, this is it. If I'm thinking about what I'm going to say next, I'm finished. Game's over. Done. If my thought is, oh my God, how do I reply? What do I say? What should I say? I'm dead. I can't. This is 90% about reading that person and figuring them out and making friends and making them like you and encourage them to do stuff. And if I'm worried about, oh my God, what do I have to say next? I can't do it. So here it is. Everything should be scripted. Nothing should be ad lib. Every story you tell should be practiced and rehearsed. Everything needs to be scripted. And the reason you need to script it is because it needs to be so natural. Guys, what I'm going to do today, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the company I work for. So you know who it is. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. And to show you what I do for all my clients when we're buying and sell houses. And then we'll talk and you show me around the house and I'll see if I think I can help you. That sound fair? That it's scripted. There's nothing that's not scripted. Hey, you know what? Listen, I got to tell you, we just listed a house in your neighborhood around the corner. Gorgeous house, tons of interest. We have an open house Sunday, 2 to 4. But here's what I like to do. I like to hold a little special open house from 1:30 to 2 for just the neighbors. The reason I'm calling you is to invite you to come over, take a look, meet me, say hi. But this is your one chance to find somebody you want to be your neighbor instead of me going out and finding somebody because you don't know who we're going to find. So come on over, take a look at the house. If you like it, maybe you can tell some people about it. I'll be here from 1:30 to 2. That's a scripted call. Do you think if that neighbor came at 1:30, it's a pretty warm lead? That's a pretty big signal that they want to sell their house if they came to this open house. That's a huge one, but now they're here. But they're not here because I brought them here to sell their house. They're here because I gave them, what did I do? Let's talk about all the steps that are involved in there. This is special. It's scarce. It's rare. You're going to miss out if you don't come. I'm going to find a drummer and 18 kids to live next door to you if you don't come. If you miss out, you're going to lose. And we've done all this stuff with one little script. But if I'm thinking about what do I say next, I can't look at people. I need to know that my buyers and sellers are with me, that they're alive, that they're happy or sad, and that what's going on. Because if I miss those cues, if you're telling me a sad story and I'm thinking about what I'm going to say next, and I don't pick up on the fact that that's a sad story and I don't empathize with you, you're going to think I'm an ass. Really, this guy just wants to sell me. I just told him I'm selling my house because my daughter moved away and I'm lonely and I need to be near my grandkids. And this guy's talking about open houses and marketing material. It doesn't work. You got to be there. You got to listen. The other thing about scripts, and this is why they're so key, is I have it, and you guys have seen it. It's called a rabbit trail, and it works like this. Back in the 1800s, the British used to hunt foxes with hounds, and the hounds would chase the fox, chase the fox, chase the fox, and every once in a while, off on a rabbit trail. Right? I'm a rabbit trail person. I have tons of stories I like to tell. I like to entertain. I like people, and I like to be with them. So I have a tendency to go way off script. If you can bring me so far off script, it's ridiculous. But because I have a script, I can get back on. I know what I'm doing today. So if we start talking about your kids' soccer and we get really into it because you want to, and I'm gonna. The problem is if I didn't have a script and we talk about soccer for half an hour, what next? How do I get back on track? Because you have to talk about soccer for half an hour if they want to. Right? You have to show that interest. Scripting is key. You can't earn friendship. You ever talk to somebody and as they're talking to you, you feel like they're looking over your shoulder for someone better? Right? They're always looking around the room. They're not paying attention to you. Or somebody that doesn't really know what they're doing and they're thinking about what they're going to say next. You can feel it. They're not paying attention to you. They're just not. Okay. I'm going to end with this. This is my tip of the day. This is a cheap one. You can all do this. I have a very special business card. For those of you that have seen it, it looks very cartoony. My name is huge in block letters on the back of my business card. And here's why. When I sit down with people for the very first time, I will take my business card, put it on the table so that the big word is in it, slide it and slide it over to them. And it'll sit on the table in front of them while we're talking. Here's why. Not only do you want to pay attention to them, you need them to pay attention to you. Have you ever forgot somebody's name in the first 5 seconds of a meeting? What do you do for the rest of that meeting? Do you hear anything else? Well, let's avoid that. Slide the card. You'll see, and you're going to giggle, and I promise, here's what I want. I want a text. The first time you notice them, look at the card, read your name. Send me a text saying, they did it. Because it happens all, they'll look down. Yeah, Jeff. Yeah, Jeff. So that it just helps, but it's the same for them, right? That's their script. Now they know who I am. So friendship, be like them, care about them. Here's what it comes down to. In real estate, you have two options. You can study houses and buildings and the structure, and you'll do okay. Study people and you'll do phenomenal. Just spend all your time learning psychology and how people think and why they think. Because it's, if our business dried up tomorrow and all of a sudden everything was done by that auction company, we had no job left. If you've learned the skills on how to get people to take action, you can go anywhere and do anything. You can walk in any company and be a top salesperson, anywhere. But if you learn real estate, then real estate falls apart. You're out of work. Not only that, you won't make as much money or have as much fun. Cool? Cool? We get a little bit today? A little bit? Okay, here's what I need. We need more people. This is more fun when we have more people. Can you guys just spread the word a little bit? Like, come to these damn things? Because we need more people. Yeah, I know. Yeah. And even me, like teaching this, when I teach this, I have to learn it all again. And then I start practicing it again. And so I love teaching because it practices my skills too. Yeah. They do. And Friday afternoons was a bad idea. I don't think so. I was at a meeting with 3,000 people this morning. It was ridiculous. Oh, we all had to be vaccinated. Yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem. We had a problem with our communication.
Yeah. But if you have some video testimonial of like using the classes and shown them how you can do it,
So I know they would.
yeah, that's true.
I need, but what I need is I need a third party. I need somebody else to say how good it is rather than me.
Right.
Right. I need you guys in the education. Get your ass there. You'll learn something. Next is lead gen next month. 20 source of lead gen. Good for new agents.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, just wait. So I'll give you, okay, here's my lead gen thing. I tell you this, and I keep telling people this and no one does it, but it drives me bonkers because I made a shit ton of money off this. Mary, come on up here. Top secret stuff now. You guys at home, I'm going to share it with you too. What's up? So I had a little questionnaire at the table while people were eating lunch, and I paid the waiters and waitresses $25. Now, when it was busy, they didn't do it, but when it was slow, it was an extra $25 a table, and they were all over it. So I would go in once a week, pick up all these leads, and go back to my office and give them to my telemarketer, say, here, go. And once a month, I'd give away a TV. We'd go in Local Heroes, we'd give it to somebody, we'd take the pictures. We got so many leads, and it cost me like $400 a month. It was crazy. You can do it at the gym too. Those little sections at the gym that are sitting there. They got minimum wage, no chance to make any money. Hey, I'll tell you what, I didn't remember you get to fill up the stuff. You got to talk to the owner first. Actually, $25 a month. Now, from the owner's perspective, here's how to sell to the owner. I'm going to give your staff $25 every time. $10, $5, whatever it is. Fill out a ballot, yeah. But it could be 5, it could be a 2 card, whatever. But what you're doing is you're supplementing their income. So if I'm an employer and I partner with you and together we pay them more money, well, my staff stays longer. It's better for my staff. So you know, it's a win-win there. But the leads you get. So now what's important is what does the ballot say? That's key. What does the ballot say? Because I don't want to call. I don't want to telemarketer call. So the ballot, and I'm going to get the ballot next class, but the ballot is very, very scientific. Created it myself. The top of the part of the ballot is just their name, address, phone number, email. If they fill that out, nobody's ever calling them. That's it. You fill it out, you're eligible for the prize, but nobody's going to call you. If you don't request a call, nobody's going to call you. The middle section is a request for information. So in the middle section, I say, I want some information about local markets, about selling my house, about using my RSPs and first home buyer, whatever it might be. Something, and you need to pre-think it because you need to have a little package set up. And they tick that box. I want this package, right? You have to do something. So you have this little package for but here's what you do. In that middle section, it said, I'm going to send you a package of information. The bottom section says, I want to be called about selling house or buying house. Out of every 1,000 people, you might get one pick one. And I did home shows, trade shows, all this stuff. You might get one person. 100 take the middle. This is where it becomes killer. All right, here it is. Guilt equity. This is how guilt equity. I'm going to call you. As soon as you fill out the ballot, I'm going to call you and piss you off. Put a lot of time and effort. Just want to confirm that. I'm going to call you next week. To get the package, you take a look. Do you think she looked? 95% chance. But she's going to say she did. Now she's going to go. And I'm going to use that guilt equity and I'm going to leverage it into an appointment right now. And I'm going to say, Mary, you know what I'd like to do? Why don't we get together next week for coffee? We'll talk more about what that was and what we're doing. Oh, it works so good. We did this. So remember that I had 3 telemarketers working for me. So we stopped sending the packages. Did you get the package? Yeah. Okay, great. You didn't even send it. They still said yes. They still said yes. Yeah. So we did that because we would do a trade show. So I would do the home show. I'd get 1,000 leads. I'd hire 6 people to phone 1,000 people in the next 5 days. Right. If I go sit at a trade show, let's say the home show, and over the course of 3 days, I spent $8,000 and I can win a good prize, and I might get 15 if I'm passive. What I would do is I would hire 3 people to stand in the aisle and send them into my booth to fill out my ballot. I had the best prize ever, and all I sold was ballots. Hi, fill out the ballot. Fill out the ballot. And then all I did was explain the ballot. By the way, while you're filling the ballot, fill out the ballot. Nobody. Just to digest. If you just want some information, we'll send you a package. Oh yeah, you'd be pissed. And I'm going to guilt equity you, and then I'm going to have an appointment. Now, is it 100% effective? Nothing is 100%. But if you can take something that's 1% effective, turn it into 10. Still being taught to door knock. First 3 months with Edgar Jones, my job, I had to door knock 200 contacts for them. 200 a day.
Yeah, I was like,
Those 3 months it took me. When you get the 200 contracts, you graduate from training. It took me 3 months in Kingston in the summer, in the hot, and I'm like 280 and I'm sweating and people are afraid of me. And it was the worst experience of my entire life. Oh, it was terrible. It was horrible. I was just a kid, but it was awful. And I kind of looked at it like, wow, what a great thing that I never want to do again. But I got him a lot of business, but it wasn't something that I could build my life doing. I would never, I would quit. I said, okay, I got to think of other things that might work for some people. And I always say the same thing. Do what works for you. You need 4 sources of leads. 4 legs. Every stool needs 4 legs. You need 4. What are your 4? One of your 4 better be your database, your CRM. That better be one of your 4. For those of you that have been in business more than 4 or 5 years, one of your 4 better be spheres of influence. So a sphere of influence is the people that you have around you that you have some influence over. Also, centers of influence. Those are people that have influence over other people. So who do you have that's a center of influence? Who's your referral sources? Do you have them? Yeah. Who sends you business? You don't have to tell me their name, but do you have somebody? Okay. But are those referrals from clients, or do you have like somebody that sends you a lot? So what we want to find is somebody that could send you for a year.
Yeah.
That'll do that? And the nice thing about that is when we talk about nurture them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even if they weren't, like if they were just,
Yeah.
so my biggest source of referrals right now is coming from the law office.
Yeah.
A law office is my biggest source of referral. Because I'm doing commercial stuff and they don't know it. Perfect. Can I give you some advice? Here's my advice. Here's my advice. This would be my advice for you, because I'm kind of sort of is 3 or 4 people a week for breakfast or lunch. So just start. Don't eat breakfast alone. Don't eat lunch alone unless you have to. Take 3 or 4 people a week to breakfast or lunch, old acquaintances, whether they're in real estate or not, and just start getting social. You go out, you start talking, ask about them. They're going to ask you about you. I guarantee out of every 3 meetings you have like that, there will become a real estate transaction will fall out of it. Don't talk real estate.
Crazy example. So
Yeah.
I like to send little things all the time.
Sure.
And I did an ice cream thing. So I sent the amount for like 2 scoops of ice cream to 75 people that I
Awesome.
and from that it was $750.
Isn't that insane?
Within 4 weeks.
Isn't that insane?
Like just if you put things out to the universe.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but
You give.
I was doing, I've been
So-
doing that past
so
week.
of the
They're like,
6
"Why aren't you
things-
doing that more?"
Hold on. Of the 6 things of influence, which was that? Which did you do? Right? You gave them ice cream carts. They gave you 7 meals. You spent 700. They gave you 70,000. I think you should send 700 again tomorrow.
And out of that amount, I always kept up with the particular bill for most of them. And but I also kept up with the newsletter, which automatically does. So I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to
Okay, we have to do something about command.
Yeah.
We have to start educating this office. I don't know how to use command. You?
It is the worst thing.
Yeah, I know, right, I have to learn how to do it.
You?
I know.
Well, I know how to do some things, but I don't know how to use it anywhere near. Yeah, we all can, but nobody can teach a class on how to use it. I tell you. Do you know Jill, the guy who made command?
What you need is to be.
Yeah, Jill needs to come and teach us. So,
Because when you're doing it when he's here.
so I'll tell you the command story.
Slow down and it's- you know
So,
what I mean?
I'll tell you the command story. You guys are gonna laugh. So Gilles, when he first took over as Canadian technology, IT, had no idea what to do, was lost. But he had made Fall Tour, right? He was the guy who made Fall Tour. He's a brilliant guy, tech guy. He's brilliant. So I said, come on down to Ottawa and visit with me, and I'll show you what you need to do. He was like, what? I said, come on down, I'll show you what you need to do. So I came down and I had my 2 biggest teams. I was team lead at Solid Rock then. I had my 2 biggest teams, and I said, here's what we're gonna do. All the CRM shit you're working on is all great, but you guys have forgotten about teams. This needs to work for teams. Here's what the teams need. We sat down, we went over Commission Sync for the entire day with both teams. How do you use it? What do you do? And I was teaching him how to use Commission Sync. He copied Commission Sync. So a lot of the functionality, a lot of the stuff is exactly the same as Sync. And Sync is, I just paid for it yesterday, $3,300 US a month.
What? You paid for it?
That's right. And it'll take me 2 months of $3,300 before the first lead starts coming in and paying off.
That's so expensive.
Yeah, but I'll generate 400 leads a month, 400 appointments a month. Well, I'd say I'll probably get,
400 appointments a month.
I would say out of that, we'll generate
How could you
50 to 60 appointments a month. Well, I'm going to give them to you guys. I'm not doing them.
Sure.
You're doing them.
Yeah.
You're doing them for,
Part of your little team there.
well, you got to pay me a little bit for the $3,000 I have to spend. Okay, but I'm not just spending money there. I also have 9 virtual assistants doing the telemarketing. I have 3 admin in Halifax doing it. So, so we're done. We're done on Zoom. Okay. So I'm going to give you guys a real scoop so you know what's going on.